What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Jake, your favorite investor. Welcome. Let's break it down. I'm gonna let you guys come in. For those of you that are watching in the future, what's going on? I'm probably gonna put this on my page unless I say something dumb or offensive, in which case this will be in the private archives. For those of you watching live, we're gonna break down all the basic numbers of a flip. We're gonna do it in real life on a real life flip that we had on our stories. But those of you, if I say something that are on the live, if I say something offensive or dumb, now y'all will get to see it and hear it in real time, and you won't be able to let me live it down. So that's cool. So what's going on, you guys? Welcome. Come on in, come all. What's up, Serenity Moon? Good to see ya. All right. Maria, wave. All right, let's see who's in the room. Come on in. I'm gonna let all you guys join. Today we're gonna talk about the basic numbers that everybody needs to know in order to flip houses. I'm gonna let everybody jump on. I did advertise that this would be on at 4. It's 4:07 now, so we're a little bit late. But Mr. Brown, downtown Matt Brown, what's going on, man? Hopefully you're getting back on the saddle, my friend. Brayan, good to see you. Leader Y, welcome. Fast Black, what's up? J Good Vibes, hello. Yunal San, good to see you, my friend. De Jesus or the Jesus, what's going on? Hola, good to see you. Drix Vibes. Casa Diaz Realty, what is cracking? I'm feeling pretty good today, and before we start breaking this down, I gotta put the link right here. I always do. Actually, I always forget right at first, so we're gonna come back and remember this bad boy. There we are. Pin comment. All right, cool. If you guys are interested in the mentorship group, learn how to do what we're about to go over in depth, hit theflipsecrets.com/mentor. Link is in my bio. Mentorship group, help you get in the game, add a supplemental source of income to your financial situation so you can buy your time back. That's what I do. That's what the folks in my group do. I don't know how to say that. But today, once again, you guys, we are going to go over the basic numbers. I'm going to spit on myself. The basic numbers that you need to know in order to flip houses. We'll break it down. I got the trusty whiteboard here, right here by the window, because we got some good light today. Although our walls are a little bit thin, so everybody in the office next door can hear everything I'm saying. They'll get a live too. That's great. But you guys, I want to know. Let me take like a quick roll call before we get this going. Let me know if you're new to my page, if you've never seen one of these where I actually break things down. Give me like one of these things, or a thumbs up, or just let me know that you're new. Kind of let me know where you're from. Thank you. Yeah, this is a cool shirt. This is my guy, Steve Larson. He makes these shirts. I like them a lot. But yeah, let me know if you guys are new. I know that there's some usual suspects on here. Been calling you guys out, but I want to know, kind of just understand like where we're at with the room and the eyes on the page and kind of from what context we need to come from today. All right, so we got Griselda, welcome. Melanie, New York, welcome. Travion, welcome. Lee Jackson, welcome. Smoke 1 or 2, welcome. 1 or 2. JBF Estates, welcome. Griselda Blanco, welcome. Atlanta, the Hot Atlanta. Travion, North Carolina. Raleigh, welcome. San Antonio, Texas. Prissy Little B, Modesto, Cali, the 209. I'm from Stockton. Susie, first timer from New Jersey, welcome. Chris G. Monty, welcome, first time. Wendy from New Jersey, welcome. It's me, Emiliaz from Portland, welcome. Randy Dahl, welcome. Monique from Florida, welcome. Yunel San from New York City. D Money, what's up? Mr. Emoji 88, the Mr. Emoji himself. Good to see you from Maryland. All right, cool. Charleston, South Carolina. Smart Money Irv, what's up, man? Brian, great content. I appreciate it. All right, we got the Cali, we got the East Coast, we got the West Coast. All right, so, and if I missed you, sorry. I'll be on here. I'll be talking to you all day. Now, you guys see all this stuff backwards for those of you on the live because in order for me to answer questions, I need to have it on this mode. For whatever reason, Instagram still doesn't have it, so it's flipped around where you guys can like see everything not backwards. With that being said, when we get to the whiteboard content, let me get this a little bit closer. We actually start filling this bad boy out. All the numbers are going to be backwards as well. I'll be able to save this one, and I plan on posting it to my page, IGTV or whatever it's called. I'll probably post it on YouTube as well. So you will get to see the replay, most likely, like I said, unless I say something dumb or offensive, in which case this will go in the archives. So bear with me if you're watching live. Just make sure you can keep up. Make sure you listen to what I'm saying. If I say something that you don't understand or I need to explain it a different way, please feel free to halt me. All right? What's up, Don? Good to see you, man. All right, worked in Stockton for a year. Have you purchased and flipped there? Yeah, I've done quite a bit in Stockton, actually. Would you ever? I was thinking of it. Yeah, you'd have to be battling me. I still do quite a bit in Stockton. It's a good market for me. All right, you guys. So for those of you who's first timers, my name is Jake. I am a real estate investor. I'm 36 years old. I've been doing this for about 9 years now. It's crazy for me to say that, but it's been 9 years, almost 9 years since I bought my first property. Little over 9 years since I actually learned the game. Okay. I currently from when I started as well as today, I don't use my own money for my flips. Every once in a while, I'll put a little bit into them, but for the most part, I use 100% other people's money. Second, I am not a licensed real estate agent. I don't have the desire to be a licensed real estate agent. I hire licensed real estate agents to do the work that I don't want to do or that I necessarily think is a great use of my time as an investor. Third, I'm not a contractor, right? I don't know construction well. If you had me, case in point, I have an 8-month-old daughter. I have to build like her IKEA, the little crib thing. That takes me the full day, and I still get all the stuff backwards, and the stickers are on the wrong side. And I'm just pissed off by the end of the day. I go to bed super late because I think it's going to take 2 hours, and it takes 10. So despite all of that, I've still flipped almost 900 houses over my 9-year real estate career. Okay, they all haven't been wins. I've had some losses. It took quite a bit to get in the game, and when I first started, I didn't have any experience whatsoever, right? I didn't have any money. I just started a business 6 months prior to that, and I almost lost every dime. I had like $700 in my bank account. I ended up going to a seminar, right? And it was a seminar where I thought the dudes were calling me and kind of pitching me on a free seminar, right? I was like, oh yeah, this sounds great. I had just recently read that 90% of millionaires that were self-made in this country did so through one form of real estate investing or another. Or it might have been like in the world. And I was like, oh, well, I do want to be a millionaire, and I'm going to have to be self-made because I'm broke and my family doesn't have money. So yeah, this real estate thing's going to be it, right? I made that decision and all of a sudden started seeing infomercials and like everything possible. This is back in 2011. And so I bought a book. There was a free book. I paid for shipping. And then somebody called me a couple weeks later and said that they were doing a seminar. Now, the book was about flipping houses and about borrowing private money to do it. And I was intrigued by that because I didn't have any money. And I had thought growing up that, if I was to ever do anything like that, I would have to save money for a decade or 2 decades so I could use my own cash to buy something. So this was a new concept for me. It wasn't something that I was taught in school. I did go to college, wasn't taught to me in college. And so I thought that success in life was working a 9 to 5 for someone else's dream till I'm 65. And hopefully I could graduate at that point, okay? Or not graduate, but retire and have my golden years at that point. The understanding real estate, learning about real estate, it just turned everything upside down for me. I was like, oh, I could do this. Oh, other people that are in my situation can do this. Oh, you don't need to, be all tucked in and wear like the suit and tie and all that type of stuff. Oh, this is just numbers. Oh. And so once I started discovering more and more, I was kind of bought in. And so this dude called me and he was like talking about this seminar. I was like, yeah, sign me up. Yeah, I'll be there. Right? It was like close to me. It's in Pomona. I live in Temecula. It's like an hour and a half away. I was like, yeah, perfect. Like match made in heaven. I'll be there. They're like, okay, that's $15,500. And I was like, I've been talking like I'm a business owner, which I was, but I didn't tell them I was broke and about to quit my business because I wasn't making any money from it. And I'm trying to figure out how I was going to let my car get repoed and all this kind of stuff. Right. And so I tried to hurry off the phone because I didn't want to sound embarrassed. And my excuse to get off the phone without me, having to eat the sword and say, hey, listen, dude, I'm a business owner. Yeah, just tell them that I was broke. I was embarrassed about it. And I was like, all right, let me talk to a couple references and I'll think about it. Gave me a couple references, got off the phone. I was like, gosh, I want to do this so bad. I don't got that money, blah, 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 blah. But for whatever reason, I called the references, and these were young people in California. The dude gave me the right references. I mean, people that were around my age and in my area that were doing it and doing it big. And so I called them, I checked them out. I was like looking them up online, and they were legit. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like real. How do I do this? How do I figure it out? And so I had been dating a girl for about 6 months at that time. Things were going well, but it was embarrassing because she had seen me kind of go from being like, oh, I quit my job and I'm starting this business to, oh, I'm working real hard at it to, oh my gosh, I don't have much money left. Oh, and then it's like humble city, right? And she said, hey, Jake, is this it? She called me one day, is this it? I remember thinking, oh my God, she's about to break up with me, add insult to injury. Like, what is going to happen? She's like, Jake, is this it? I was like, oh, don't break up with me. I promise I'm going to figure something out, blah, 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 blah. She's like, Jake, is this it? I was like, please, babe, I think love you. Oh my, like, I was like confessing things to her that I shouldn't have, that probably wasn't time to be confessing yet. She's like, no. You and me are fine. Is this real estate thing yet? I was like, oh, but it was so embarrassing for me to answer because she had seen me attempt to go after one of my dreams of being a business owner and see me fail completely. And so I didn't want to tell her, oh yeah, this new thing is it, right? Because I didn't want to sound dumb, right? I was so scared of failure. And I was like, oh, you know what, babe, I don't know. Like, it seems good. She's like, Jake, I know you, right? You're not somebody that dabbles, right? You're not a moderation or, usually if you're in, you'll say it. Is this it? I said, and this is like the craziest thing because it felt weird, but it felt right. I said, I think this is it. She said, I'll call you back. And so I was waiting on pins and needles. It felt like it was all day. But a half hour later, she hit me back and she said that she had extended the limit on a credit card that she had because she knew somebody that worked for a credit union. So she extended it from like $2,000, $2,500 up to 10 grand. And then she was able to open me a few credit cards because she knew somebody in the bank. And I opened a few credit cards to be able to cover 15 grand. And I went to that freaking seminar worth $600, $650, whatever it was. And I started learning on paper, right, writing it down, how to flip houses using other people's money, right? And so I was learning. This dude was on stage. He was one of the HGTV guys and just, talking about it. And I'm just sitting there like when I felt like I was one of the younger people in the crowd. And there's people that were, senior citizens down to my age. And we're all just like seeing opportunity and believing in ourselves and, dancing and they had high emotions in there. It was all like very choreographed. But I remember they tried to give me an upsell. There was no way I could do that. But I remember, this is enough. I can do it. I've seen these people. I'm going to figure it out. And so I went out to the races, right? Like I went out and tried to do what I just learned. And for those of you who know Grant, who's the strategist for the mentorship program, Grant's one of my best friends. He has been since I was 17, right? When I first met him. I've known him for a long time. And he was a real estate agent. And I was telling him, right, here's what we're going to do. He's like, you got scammed, dude. It's like, what are you talking about? He's like, why are you paying money to learn how to do this? I could tell you how to do this. I know real estate. And he had never flipped a house before, but, everybody in my life was like, oh, you did that? You got scammed. Like, I've heard these things are scams. Like, you can't flip houses. You're broke. You didn't grow up like that. Your dad sold spas before he was laid off, and then he was on disability for, so like, that's what I heard, but I just kept trying and kept trying and kept trying. And Grant was my agent. He was reluctantly sending offers on my behalf and trying. I sent hundreds of offers and got no, absolutely not, hell no, never, Jake. I'll never sell this property to you. What are you thinking, giving me an offer like that? But every time I got a little bit better and adjusted, and then finally I was like 2 months in, 273rd offer that I made, I got accepted. It was a house in Hemet, California. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was on Ida Lane. And I got the house under contract, almost like wanted to flee the country because I was so scared. I wanted to like get rid of my phone and just go hide, right? That's what it felt like. I was excited and scared, and every minute of every day was focused on getting to this point, and then I felt like I wasn't worth it. Anyway, that's a whole nother live for another day. But I ended up moving forward with it, and I found a lender through doing a couple of networking things on Facebook back in 2011 who was willing to fund the deal 100%. Right. So we bought that house with someone else's money. I paid the contractor with someone else's money. I had Grant resell it. He got a commission from the deal. And I was able to make 38 grand after paying all these lenders back and paying my girlfriend's credit card back with interest, by the way. And I had 38 G's left over for me. So I went from having $600 to 38 grand after one flip. That's one single flip. And I was like, I could do this again. Why don't I do this instead of trying all these other businesses? And so that was the start of my real estate career. That was day one, right? I resold that property in like January of 2012. So almost 9 years ago, right? I was in the process, 9 years ago today, I was in the process of flipping that house using other people's money. And I've done a lot of them. I've lost money. I've made money. My ego's been inflated where I made dumb decisions. I had family members pass away that changed the whole course and trajectory of my business and how I do it. I'm at a point now where I flip more than, this is like a humble brag, but I flip more houses than most people do that have complete crew, like an acquisitions person, construction manager, realtor manager, and all this stuff. It's just me by myself because I have a system that allows me to use this thing right here and use the abundance of other people's money to have leads being sent to me while I sleep, right? Like I've automated a lot of the process. So that's what I do. That's what I teach. And I come from a place where I know what it's like to be broke as F and get into the game from the ground level and earn my way up, okay? And I've learned a lot of tips and tricks and secrets that have allowed me, as some dude that's wearing a capitalist pig t-shirt, not wearing shoes, no joke, I'm not wearing shoes. You probably, I don't know if you could tell, being able to do Instagram lives in my office, and I'm able to beat out, if I'm battling like a $1 billion hedge fund from Wall Street on a property on 123 Main Street, I'll run circles around them. Because I know the tips and tricks on what to do and how to get a motivated seller to sell it to me rather than them. And so that's what I do, that's what I teach, and that's where I'm kind of coming from here. So I know that was a good 15 minutes there, but it's important for those of you that are new or have new eyes on the page to understand who I am, where I come from. It's been a struggle. I've worked my ass off to get here, and I've lost it a couple times by making stupid mistakes. So I know what to do. Almost more importantly, I know what not to do. And that's kind of where I teach from. That's what I do. That's my mentorship group, that's how they learn, and we're just one big happy family over here, all right? So, anyway, yeah. No, I didn't trailblaze it. I learned from a lot of people along the way. I ask questions. I'm not scared to go ask the stupidest question in the room, even if there's 20 people in the room and they all know everything, and somebody tries to explain the most basic thing. If I don't get it, I'll keep asking. I'll raise my hand and ask and give an example and make sure I understand it. And that's... I was okay. I was willing to be humble and willing to look stupid at asking questions until I got to a point where I understood everything. Then I was the dude answering questions. So because I was willing to ask those questions rather than pretend I understood things, I was able to answer them for people that might have been in the same position as me, not with a hedge fund background, right? Just a normal dude that, maybe had some money troubles in his life and trying to figure this whole wealth thing out, okay? Haven't figured the whole game of wealth out, but when it comes to flipping houses using OPM, not too many people have been through what I've been through, and I've written a lot of curriculum for a lot of the $100,000, $50,000 seminar companies. I'm very proud of that, okay? So anyway, all right. Now, let's get into it. I put this down. I can't see a lot of your guys' comments, but what we're going to do today, right, if you stay to the end, you're going to understand the basic numbers on how to flip a house, okay? Whether you're doing it in New York, in New Jersey, in Washington, and California, and Missouri, and Florida, and Texas, right? The numbers that I'm going to share here are the same numbers, right? The structure is the same thing, regardless of where you're at in the United States, okay? So we're going to break that down. A lot of you guys that aren't new to the page, right? The usual suspects, as I call you, you've seen me do these presentations before. It's going to be the same exact structure, right? And some people get bored of it, but flipping houses is doing the boring work over and over and over again, and having fun doing it, okay? So you're going to see numbers, you're going to see dollars and cents, and that's what makes deals. This isn't HGTV, right? This is me in an office in Old Town Temecula, busting this out to you on a whiteboard, and you're going to see all the numbers backwards, by the way. And, we're going to break it down. So ask questions if you have them. Take my example, right? And even if you think it's a dumb question, feel free to flag me down. I've also seen that there's a lot of mentorship group students, right? Our Flip family is in here. Any of you Flip family, if you see a question and I don't see it, because Instagram's not putting everything on the screen for me anymore, I'm getting like one or two at a time down here. Anybody that's Flip family, feel free to jump in and answer questions if you got time and if you feel so inclined. Obviously, you don't have to do that, but those of you who are on, and if you're getting engaged with it, then we can do that, okay? So, I don't know if you guys, so does that sound fair, right? Can I get a thumbs up if that's cool? If we're fair here, or a little heart, or whatever it is, I appreciate that. Can you reduce your taxes massively in flipping houses? Well, there's no capital gains tax in flipping houses. That's one thing, which is pretty cool. A lot of people think that there is, but there's not. It's taxed as ordinary income. But if you do it through a company or a business and you have a good CPA, regardless of what industry you're in, you can usually be pretty aggressive with your write-offs if you do it smart and you have somebody that's really experienced with it doing it. So I would always recommend get a business, LLC, corporation, S corporation, and hire a CPA to do your taxes for a couple grand a year, because they'll save you way more than that. If you have revenue in your business, they'll save you way more than what you pay them in taxes, all right? So I'm in California. I have bought houses all over the United States. Once I started having kids, I have a 5-year-old daughter, 3-year-old son, 8-month-old daughter. So once I started having kids, I started getting closer to the West Coast. My theory behind that, I guess, if you will, or my intention behind that is if I need to make an emergency visit to a flip, which I don't too often, maybe once a year I'll like show my face somewhere. But if I ever do want to step foot inside or shoot content or do something like that, I'd like my flips to be where I'm not losing a day traveling. If I'm flying from here to New York or from here to Delaware or something like that, in order to check on a flip, I lose a complete day. I'm a dad, right? The reason I flip houses, I make very good money in a very short amount of time. It's very part-time. But that buys back my time. I take my kids to school, right? Like I take my daughter to gymnastics on Mondays, right? When the city opens back up here in Temecula, like I can take my son to a noon, city sports camp, right? I can do that. I can go and do that. I'm typically the only dad there too. And that's important to me. I didn't have that when I was young. Yes, I had both parents, but they worked, right? Like my grandpa would take me to swimming class and wait in the car out on the street for 2 hours, and so it's important to me to be able to create a lifestyle I want, right? It doesn't mean that I'm trying to be a billionaire, at least not at this point, but I like to have flexibility. I like to have my time. I like to be able to put my attention on things that I want. I like to I would say read, but do audiobooks. I have personal development, and I like to sit and think a lot. I like to do my mentorship group. Like I can do the things I enjoy. I can, tomorrow if I want, I can get up and go on a trip across the country, still be able to manage my flips with my smartphone, still be able to coordinate money and do whatever I need to do, make the calls that I need to make and coach the students that I need to coach. I can do that, right? And so that's the freedom and the flexibility that this business buys for me is what it's all about, okay? For me, the girlfriend that lent him the money. Yes, so Carlene, the big part of the story I missed out. She's now my wife. We got married in August 2012, which was about a year after I did the first flip. She believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. It was huge for me. It was important, and she deals with a lot. I'm a little bit all over the place. She deals with all my quirkiness and, some would say a visionary, but that a lot of times it means I start things and I don't finish them. But yeah, she's pretty cool. She's an OG, you know what I mean? So, anyway, so we're going to break this down. Now, we're going to transition over, okay? On my stories, we're talking about the flip that I just sold, right? Made a pretty good profit on it. Now, bought the house for $230,000, put 37.5, so we'll round that up, put 38 grand of rehab into it, and resold it for 385, okay? I just sold for 385, got the wire, it's in my bank account, everything's good, I can talk about it, right? Because I don't want to hold anything up. Don't ever want to count the chips before they're there in the piggy bank. But if I buy something for 220 and put 38 into it and then resell it for 385, there are other expenses. It's not like I'm clearing 120 grand or whatever that number is, right? And so that's what I want to break down for you here today on the trusty whiteboard. Again, you're going to see it backwards, but there are basic categories that you just plug different numbers in, but they're the same categories on every single flip that we do, okay? So we're going to get into it, all right? Just told the other half about the story and the wife, she almost cried. Love that story. Well, I appreciate that. It's it's cool to tell it now. At the time I was going through it, it was the most stressful thing ever. Sorry, I gotta pick my nose, so I'm gonna go off screen here. This is bugging me. I don't want to just be like itching myself the whole time. I find these deals on the MLS. I use Redfin to do it. Redfin or Zillow or Trulia. I like Redfin a lot because the user friendliness is best for me. I like it on my cell phone and on my desktop. But I found deals on Craigslist. I found them on biggerpockets.com. I found a lot of them on Redfin. I get a lot of them from real estate agents, whether they're on the open market or they're about to come onto the open market. I've found deals everywhere, right? They're not super difficult to find. They're hard to pounce on quickly. If they're on the open market, you gotta move quickly. And a lot of times during the summer, it's like whoever's going to pay the most price point. But also, it's a relationship business. It's a science, but it's also a relationship business. So it's who you know. If you're willing to go out there and create relationships with a lot of realtors using my scripts or your own script or whatever it is in the market, the more people you have fighting for you, the more battles you're going to win. All right. What is a flip? We're going to get down on it. All right. If you look for them once a day for a week, you'll find them. You just got to look consistently. Absolutely. Quesadillas. All right. So without any further ado, and I hate when people say that, but we're going to say that today. Without any further ado, you're going to see me bust this out on the screen. Now, this is the first time I've done a whiteboard presentation where it has the new kind of, the new way that Instagram's interface is, right? I have to swipe my screen up. It's like the top third of the screen that I see myself, and the bottom is chat right now. I'm gonna have to swipe that down so I can see and make sure that everything's on the screen. So I'm gonna come in and I'm going to, do a presentation. They'll come in and check in with you guys. So let you know when I'm looking. So anybody that knows how to answer these questions, folks in the mentorship program, feel free to do that when I'm over here teaching, but then I'll come back in and ask a question. So you may want to save them for when I lean in and I'm actually reading this stuff. All right. All right. I don't know how to not sound dumb, but would you say there's a lot of competition in this trade? Absolutely. There's a lot of people that want to get into real estate. A lot of people that flip. They learn weird ways, or they think that just because they buy something and a realtor told them it's at a discounted price, that if they put 30 grand into it, they'll make 30 grand. And there's a pretty specific science that goes into it. So while there is competition, there's competition in anything, or else everybody would be, or else it'd be simple, right? Or else it wouldn't be challenging people. And it takes the right type of personality to want to go out there and win, right? You don't get a participation trophy for being in this business. You get a trophy if you're able to get a property. And then also in the big picture of this business, and I think in business in general, you never actually win, right? You just play the game. You get up and you show up and you play every day. So you can't win, you just play, but you can lose. And that's the only way you lose is if you quit. You can fail or have a loss here and there, but the only way to lose is by quitting, right? And I think that in any business and life in general, that applies, all right? So let me break this down here. I know that there's some questions. I don't see the comments anymore. I can see one at a time. So for those of you who are usual suspects or mentorship group, feel free to answer them. Look at me. I can actually see myself now. How's your skin looking? We're looking good. I got a window, right behind and everything. So anyway, my friends, we are going to have 2 columns here on the trusty whiteboard, okay? Okay, we're going to have 2 columns. One column over here on this side is going to represent numbers that we have to put into the project, the amount of money that we need to put into the deal in order to flip it and have it in position and condition to be able to resell it, okay? On this side is going to be the resale column, all right? The resale column is what we can sell it for, and then what numbers get subtracted from that in the form of commissions and closing costs and stuff like that in order to give us the money that's left over for us, okay? So we're going to have our project side and our resale side. Now, when a property is sent to us, and I don't know, you know what? Let me go grab this real quick, just so I can give you examples as we go. Got the iPad here. That'll be good. Well, let's make sure that it's charged. We are charged up. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. This is going to be a good one. All right, so usually, if I or if you or if anyone that's getting into the business is sent a property, right, the people that are going to try to convince you to buy it, right, a wholesaler or a real estate agent or somebody that's going to, have a financial, they're going to make money on you buying the property. A lot of times they don't have a good deal, like a profitable deal in mind as being successful. They just want you to buy the property so they can collect a check, right? They don't care if you buy it at a discount or overpay for it or whatever. They just want you to buy it, okay? So a lot of times somebody's going to, let's say property gets sent to me. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,500 square feet, built in 1960. And it's beat up, right? And somebody sends it to me, and let's say it's a realtor. Johnny the realtor is like, dude, Jake, check out this property I just texted you. Dude, it's going to be a great flip. I know I just met you and everything, but like, I know you flip houses and it's going to be great. Okay, Johnny, why is it a great flip? Tell me about it. Oh, well, I mean, Jake, the kitchen is super old, right? There's a roof leak. And I've seen your Instagram page, so I know you can do before and afters on this. And the paint is just peeling everywhere and the floor smells like pee. And so I know you could put money in it and make it look really good. Usually the agents or the wholesalers, anyone with a vested financial interest in you buying the property, regardless if you're buying it at a good deal or not, but anybody that's going to send this type of stuff to you, they're going to tell you about the property the way it is. They're going to tell you about its current condition, okay? But for us, right, and this is usually completely ass backwards compared to what most people think this business is, rather than listening to the current condition or the current state of the neighborhood or whatever it is, I need to begin with the future value, the future condition of the home, and what if there's any consistencies and what the properties are selling for in the future after everything's said and done, right? So I look at the property from its potential future value, whereas typically if someone's trying to sell you on it and convince you to buy it, they're talking about the property right now. Oh yeah, shit's falling over and it smells terrible, smells like cat piss, it's a great deal for you. I typically press mute, and then I start looking on a Redfin or a Zillow or whatever it is to look at other similar properties, right? Other 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,500-ish square feet, built somewhere around 1960, houses that have sold in the last 6 months. We call those comparable properties. And if we can find a trend in the neighborhood, and let me show you kind of what that looks like here. If we can find a trend in the neighborhood, usually it's pretty predictable what we can sell our house for once everything is said and done. I mean, it's not pretty predictable, it's very predictable, okay? So if you look at like a Redfin, right? Usually in any neighborhood, it can give you data of what's sold within the last however many months. And I can go in and switch this data up and say, okay, that's the last 6 months. I could change it to the last, 3 months, and it's going to give me a little bit less data. And then I want to go and, the data is a little bit, data will be, a little bit different, a little bit less. So all these clusters are homes, and I could say, okay, I want stuff between 1,200 and 1,600 square feet, right? And it'll give me a little bit less. And if I can look at those properties, right? Like let's say I'm looking at this little neighborhood right here. If all those numbers are the same, like on this one, I see 277, 270, 290, 285, right? 263. That's pretty consistent. It's right there in the 270-ish, 280-ish, maybe up to 290 range, right? The more trend that we have, the more consistency in those numbers that we have, right? The better, and the more expectant we can be with what we're going to sell our flip for, and we can pretty much predict exactly how much money we'll be able to make as long as our contractor stays on budget, okay? So with the house that you guys see in my stories, it was sent to me, and it was beat up, right? There's like a crack in the slab in the back, and it had old windows, and everything's original from like 1965. And it's just like, it looks good on the outside, but it looked terrible on the inside. And the dude that sent it to me is like, dude, check this out. Like, it's beat up. Look at how original it is. I walked through it earlier. It smells like pee, blah, 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 blah. By the way, a lot of houses that we flip smell like cat piss at the beginning. For whatever reason. Stop letting cats in your house, No hate on cats. I'm a dog guy myself. But, so I was looking at it. It's like, in that neighborhood, there was comps that sold for... Matter of fact, I can probably find it for you because I shared it on Instagram stories at the time. And then I shared it also today. But there were comps. Let me see if I can actually go on while I'm on live and look at it from right here. Yeah, I think I can. I'm watching myself here. Right, so I was able to look when I bought that property, 355, 352, 345, 355, 354, 352 again. There's a pretty consistent trend right in that 350 to 355 space. Okay, so that's the first thing I look for. If I can get an accurate resale read, right, a trend that I can read in the neighborhood, then I know what the end goal is, and then I just work backwards from there. If I can't get a consistent number there, then I don't care what the condition is or what they're asking for it, because if there's no predictability on the exit strategy, why would I enter a deal? I'm not here to gamble, I'm here to invest, okay? So with this property, it's $355, okay? $355 on paper is what I can resell it for. And this number I need to know before I even look at what I would purchase it for, okay? Now, this $355 number not only tells me what I can obviously sell it for, but in addition to that, it tells me in all those houses that sold, I can look at the kitchens, the bathrooms, the flooring, the paint color, what the outside looks like. Does it have central heat and air? Does it have new windows? Does it have old windows? And it's different everywhere, right? In different places of the country. But if those properties are selling for similar price points, those properties also have similar features typically, right? Especially if you're in the middle of the market, older homes, you're not looking in luxury areas, right? Usually you could tell, like, hey, does it have lighter colors? Does it have grays? Does it have darks? Does it have browns? Does it have tile? Does it have tile all throughout? Does it have, the hardware and then the tile when you get to the kitchen? Is it open floor plan? Does it have 4 walls around every room? Right? I catch a lot of heat because people are like, oh, why'd you open the floor plan? It looks bland. You're boring. What's wrong with the country? Capitalism sucks, which is why I wear this, to troll people that talk shit about that. But I'm not doing what I personally like to these flips. I'm doing what the market tells me is working, okay? And at 355, there's 6 properties that are selling at right about 355, and they all have white kitchens and gray countertops. Guess what? Even if in my house, I have a white kitchen and black countertop. Guess what I'm gonna do to this though? I'm not gonna do what I like. I'm gonna do what's working, okay? I don't like the lighter floors, like the lighter hardwood, the fake hardwood. I like the darker fake hardwood. But if the lighter stuff's working in the neighborhood, guess what? I'm doing that because that's what's going to sell, right? So at 355, I know what I need to do to the property. I know what the property is going to sell for, and I know how quickly the property is going to sell. Typically, there's an average days on market from the day that it was listed to the day that it's locked in under contract. So if I can get all those patterns, I begin with the end in mind, and I just work backwards, okay? That's how I'm going to know if a deal's good or not. Now, does that make sense so far? I got to actually come over here and looking at all this stuff. What's up, James? What's up, man? The trend is our friend. I like that. I'm going to coin that for my own. All right, so you guys, again, I was, with the way that Instagram Live is now, I couldn't see any of that kind of stuff. So I'm now looking. So if you have any questions so far, let me know. If not, give me a thumbs up. I'm going to get right back into it. This gives me a chance for a water break, too. She want Drizzy. What's up? What's up, Steffi? Steffi is amazing. Good to see you. We got the Flip family. Blake, we'll get to contractors and all that stuff, but find a good deal. You need to find consistency in the similar properties in the neighborhood. If I can't find something like a consistent number that these properties are selling at, makes no sense. I'm not here to gamble. All right? I'm bringing it right now. This stuff works anywhere and everywhere in the country. Some places are more competitive than others. The beauty of 2020 is we could do anything with this. I'm talking to you guys all over the country, all over the world right now. Where's my international audience today? Okay? Yeah, I love working backwards. I will save this one and flip it around. Do I only check comps from Redfin? No. I'm just giving you an example. The best way to check comps is to have a licensed real estate agent send it to you. But some markets, the MLS plugs directly into Redfin or directly into Trulia or directly into Zillow. And so a lot of times, if I don't have access to the MLS or an agent that's able to send it right away, I can at least get partial data from a Redfin or a Zillow or whatever it is, so I can at least see if there's something that's jumping out at me. And oftentimes, 90% of the time, I can find something like that. Now, it's never, the iPad or whatever it is, it's never a good replacement for having a trusty real estate agent there doing the work for you, getting the real data, okay? And a lot of people, it's easy to check Redfin and find deals and stuff like that. A lot of people get real caught up on actually having to make the call and interact with the agent because they don't want to sound stupid. Surprise, surprise. We always sound stupid the first time, but we sound way more stupider, right? More stupid to ourselves than we do to the other side, okay? We're all just following scripts a lot of times in this business anyway. If you guys want to learn this stuff and learn the scripts and learn exactly how I do this from A to Z, we get in depth. It's like 35 days of training. Hit the link in my bio below, theflipsecrets.com/mentor, and we'll get right back into it. I went into how I started. I went to a seminar. I was broke as hell and got convinced to go to a seminar. My girlfriend put it on her credit card. New construction, don't have much experience. What's your advice in starting this kind of business? Be willing to take action. Be willing to get outside of your comfort zone. Right? The people that are willing to hustle are the ones that win. It's all mindset business. I'll teach you all day. If you were to go into my mentorship group, you would know how to flip houses. That's what I can guarantee. You'll know how to flip houses. You'll know how to do it with the best of them. You'll have a better strategy than 99.9% of investors out there. But if you're willing to apply the strategy, that's the question, right? People that do well are willing to get out there, make mistakes, get through their own insecurities, and push through it to earn confidence. Folks that take a little bit longer for them to have success, they're the ones that do a little bit and then they stop, or they're like procrastinate for a couple of days. Either way, you can find success. You're gonna get a lot quicker, right? And time is money. Time is more important than money. I'm all about, what's the word? I'm all about packing, like shortening time constraints, right? I would rather pay somebody, because I pay a lot of money for mentors as well. I'd rather pay someone and learn something in a month that would take me, that I could go find out for free, but it'll take me 2 years of researching and doing trial and error on my own. So anyway, the program, yes, 10K. Now there are payment plans. There's a 2-week money back guarantee. If you don't like it, you just back out. You take 2 weeks of content, that's fine. We also have a third-party OPM resource. So if you make over 30 grand a year and have a 620 credit score, a third party will cover, well, you'd have to go in and they'd verify income and all that kind of stuff. But there's a third party that'll give you a 5-year loan where it's like you can get in for a few $100 a month. Okay, now the name of the game is leveraging that OPM so you can get that paid back as quickly as possible. So I would only recommend doing it if you're willing to go out there and apply what I teach you, right? Unless you're just using this as a skill set to do it passively, in which case it'll also work. But, it's just all about what your goals are, all right? All right, we're gonna get back into it. All right, so if I can sell this for $355, remember, I am not a licensed real estate agent, nor do I want to be one, nor did I play one on TV, okay? With that being said, and this property is like 600 miles away from where I live, okay? So with that being said, I never step foot inside of it. I typically never step foot inside of any of my property, 90% of them. So with this one, I need a real estate agent who's licensed in that area, right? And in addition to that they understand my expectations, and they're willing and able to go do open houses where, lately with, the virus, you can't do open houses, but they're willing to negotiate. They're willing to maybe do things a little bit different because I have certain things that I like with, aggressiveness of agents and certain ways I like to negotiate through my agents, right? It's fun for me. So I pick a good agent. It's one that I like. It's one that I trust. It's one that I know is going to work hard for me. And they're going to list the property. Now, you don't pay them up front to list the property. They only get paid if this deal sells and the new buyer at around $355 or whatever, if they bring the money in, the agents take their cut before the rest comes to me. They get their sticky little hands involved, all right? So commissions are usually 4, 5, or 6%. I like to pay 5. Half of it goes to my agent, half of it goes to the other buyer's agent. They only get paid if the deal goes through, okay? At $355, it's like about 18 grand. It's like $17,250 or something like that in total in realtor commissions. Okay, that's at 350. So I'm gonna say 18 grand, and we're gonna subtract that right off the top just to round it up. Okay. Now, in addition to that, there's also what we call closing costs. Now, again, this is about 5% of this number. It's going to be 5%, but I rounded it up. We also have closing costs. A third party, coordinates the transaction. Usually it's called title company, escrow company, closing attorney, closing transaction coordinator, whatever it is, right? Different places in different parts of the country. Their job is to collect the deed from you, right? They transfer ownership from you to the new buyer. They collect the money from the new buyer, from their bank, and they give it to you, right? They facilitate the transaction, make sure everybody's protected. If they do that correctly, right, they get paid on it as well, and they put an insurance policy on it. They also make sure that you pay a portion of property taxes and things like that. So typically it's between 1 and 2% of this number that goes in closing costs, okay? Excuse me. So between 1 and 2%, let's say about $4,000, right? It's gonna be between $3,500 and $7,000. We'll say about $4,000. It's typically right about $4,000 or $5,000 anyway, right? So that's taken off only if this deal closes. So if I sell this property for $355, I have to understand that I'm paying fees on that bad boy, okay? Paying $22,000. That's essentially taken off the top. So $355 minus 22 equals $333. Okay, $333 is what comes in if I sell this property for $355, hire an agent, and obviously have to pay my closing costs. Does that make sense? That is the resale side, and I have to consider that before I even look at the current condition of the home or whatever is going on with it. Let me know if that makes sense. It's hard to flip the camera, you guys. Feel free to take a screenshot and flip it around on your own. Because I'm sitting here talking with you guys and we're doing this presentation, it's interactive. Unfortunately, my friends, fortunately or unfortunately, you got to listen to what I'm saying. Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately. And there's got to be a way to invert the camera from IG. Yeah, I agree. Complain to IG. Say, Jake, I'm trying to watch Jake Light's lives and all this stuff's backwards. The $18,000, realistically, it's like $17,750, I think. It's 5% of the transaction amount. It goes to the real estate agents. They split it, right? Half goes to the buyer's agent, half goes to my agent. That only is paid if we complete the deal. They don't get paid if the deal doesn't go through. Yes, Serenity Moon. Look at it in the mirror. The $4,000 is closing costs. It's what we pay to the title company. There's title and escrow fees. There's county recording fees. There's a portion of the year's property taxes that are paid. That's between 1 and 2% of the transaction amount. That comes off also only if the deal goes through. I know, IG does need to know. What's up, Chris? Realtor Commission, absolutely. You also have to pay tax on it and pay hard money back. Correct, but we haven't got to that yet. And taxes on it, actually taxes come out in closing costs, property taxes and so forth. Do brokers still charge points? Are you talking about lenders? We're not there yet, but yes, they do. All right. Can I get a thumbs up if we can keep going? Because we're going to come to the project side now. All right. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that we're good, okay? Give me some type of indication. We got 1 thumbs up, baby. That's what I'm talking about. 1 thumbs up is all I need. I got 3 from Blake. I got 1 thumbs up for it's Mia Melias, Forever Adam. Appreciate it. Blocks World. See, this is what a give and take relationship is like, right? We both get to interact here. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's give and take. Are you going to get in the BRR? Yes, I do BRRRRRR as well. I call it brrr. Taxes like capital gains. Capital gains aren't charged on flips. These are business purposes. They're taxed as ordinary income. I do it through a business. So let's say I make 60 grand on a flip. I'm not paying taxes on 60 grand. I have business expenses. I happen to travel for my business. I happen to rent a beach house in Newport for my business. I happen to have a bunch of meals for my business. Happen to buy a lot of furniture and electronics for my business. So all that's taken out, and whatever's left over, that's what I get taxed on based on my state. And I have an S corp, so I pay myself a salary, and whatever's left on my K1, I pay taxes on. All right. All right, cool. Let's get this cracking. All right. All right, there we go. All right, so on this side, now that we know what the exit strategy is, now we come back to that conversation that the agent comes with. By the way, this took me 20 minutes to explain to you guys, or 15 minutes or whatever. You do it in your head once you learn the game, and if you have my calculator especially, you do this in a couple of minutes, right? And understand, okay, if I can sell for that much, 5% is taken away, another between 1 and 2% is taken away, so it's about 6.5%, 7% that's removed from it, and this is what's left over. Okay, now we can start looking at what we would buy it for to see if it would be a good deal or not, okay? So, they were asking $295 for this property, and looking at the pictures, I thought there was about 35 grand in rehab. So if I bought it for $295, and I put 35 in rehab, that'd be all in for $330, okay? If I bought it for what they were asking and just put rehab into it and didn't have any other fees associated, I'd be 330 grand into it in order to sell it at this price point and get 333 out of it. That ain't a deal, right? But the fact that I have a predictable exit strategy, right? And with that, I know exactly what I need to do to the house. That makes me intrigued. So I know that if I'm looking at it from a $330,000, buy it for $295 and put 35 into it, I know that other folks that might be looking at retail costs of that, they'd be way more into this than I would, right? As far as what they would pay. So rather than run away, I saw there were certain keywords in it where they were saying, hey, bring your imagination. It's a piece of crap. It's falling over. It needs work. They don't say that, but I'm exaggerating. But say, yeah, it needs work. Bring your investors. When I see something like that and I see it overpriced, I don't run away. I usually think that everybody else is going to run away, so I might as well give them a low ball. And at first I gave them a low ball of $240, and they accepted it. And then I looked at my numbers, and my contractor bids were like 37.5, 40, 42, so they're a little bit higher. So I asked for another, I think I asked for 15 grand off during my inspection period. I said, hey, you know what, instead of 340, I want it for 325. They said 330, but you better close it. So boom, or excuse me, 230, or you better close it. So I put it under contract at 230, okay? Now, this is starting to look like a deal. You see how this works? Like, I could buy it for 230, I could sell it for 355, and even with all these fees, there's still 333 left over. We've got some spread, right? We've got some spread at 230, okay? And my contractor bids were between 37 and 42, or like between 36 and 42. I picked a dude that was at 37.5. I'm going to round that number up and say 38, okay? 38 grand. I had worked with him a couple times before. Very trustworthy, does good work. Is usually on budget, usually on point with the timelines. Good to go, right? So if I buy it for 230 and put 38 into it, I'm all in at this point for 268. But there's a couple more little tiny numbers that we have to understand are part of, the business of flipping homes, of owning homes, okay? We have closing costs, which is the same as over here. You got your title insurance, the third party coordinates the transaction. You're buying it. You're not taking any of the drama from the person you're buying it from. They have it free and clear. They get rid of liens and all that kind of crap. That's also between 1 and 2% of this number, okay? So it's between 2,300 and 4,600. So let's say about 3 grand. I'm just gonna say 3 grand in closing costs. And we also typically have what's called holding costs. And that's like vacant property insurance, which is $80 a month or something like that. We got vacant property utilities like power, water, sewer, trash, right? So all in all, I typically hold these for about 6 months. So I'm going to guess another $2,000 in holding costs to pay. There's no HOA fees. It's just like water, electricity, all that kind of stuff, and vacant property insurance, so that if something happens, a tree falls into the house, I get it paid for. Okay. Now that's we'll say about $2,000 for that. Okay. So if I buy it for $230, I put $38 into it, and I have another $5,000 $3,000 in closing costs and $2,000 in holding costs. Now I'm all in for $260, $270, $273. $273 into that bad boy, sell for $355, take away these fees, and I'm out of it $333. Okay? This right here, the amount of potential profit is $60,000. Right? $333, $273 in, $333 out. $60,000 difference there. Okay? Now, let's make sure that we all understand that this is making sense. Feel free to screenshot. Let me know if you have any questions. My usual expectation is between 4 and 6 months. I usually project my numbers based on 6 months, because what if I put it under contract with a new buyer and then they back out the day that it's supposed to close? I actually had that happen yesterday. They got loan docs. I gave them an extension of 2 weeks, and the day that they were supposed to close, they're like, we're backing out. I'm keeping their deposit, but they were like, you know what? We don't like the roof. Give us our deposit back. I was like, no. You've been in this for 45 days, and I got to go back on market, find another offer, and do another 30 to 45 days, okay? So, yes, no capital gains tax. That's correct. Can you upload the whole story to your highlights, please? I don't think so, because this has been like an hour so far. Highlights are 15 seconds. I'm going to try to put it on IGTV, but this may be too long for IGTV as well, okay? We're not talking about lenders yet. We're just talking about straight up the basics of a deal. This, my friends, this is how every deal works, regardless of where you're at in the country, regardless of whether you have money, whether you don't have money, whether you're trying to get money from someone else to do it. These are the numbers that dictate whether a deal is good. If you're going to put your own money, only do it if these numbers make sense. If you're going to get someone else's money, they're only going to do it if these numbers make sense. If a lender comes and puts their money into the deal, it's because they get the rights to take ownership. They repo the deal. It's what a foreclosure is. They repo the house if you mess up, right? So if you mess up, or if you're like, you know what, man, I'm going to get drunk, I'm going to go to Mexico, I'm not going to come back. Or let's say I get sick, or, God forbid, what if I get a car crash and pass away? That lender needs to make sure that their money is protected, okay? And I know that that's like weird to talk about or morbid to talk about, but you're talking about, $250,000 plus. Somebody needs to make sure that they're protected. And so they're protected by the house, which means if something happens to you and they carry everything through, they can pull out that $60,000 in potential profit rather than you doing that, okay? So that's how a lender is protected. That's why it's not all about your personal financial history or your experience level or whether you have a license or not, right? That's not what matters. What matters is you got this property locked in under contract, meaning it's exclusive to you and someone else can't buy it, and that you put your numbers in front of the lenders, not only confidently, but clearly. Show that you're doing your homework. You want to know how to do that? We have what's called an investor proposal. It's a template that I've done hundreds of these with. It's in our mentorship group. Hit the link below if you're interested in going deep and how to put all this stuff together, okay? I teach the same way I do it. I teach the same way as my lives. There are a lot of people making a lot of money based on this kind of stuff as a completely, supplemental side hustle, all right? I usually attempt to talk down 65% of the asking price. Now, Mike Riches, yes, some people will go in and they'll say, whatever, the asking price or whatever this price is, we're going to offer 65% minus rehab, and that's what our offer is going to be. I've found that when people do that, they automatically just put like a percentage on it. And this is no disrespect, but I feel like it's quick, right? It allows them to make moves quick, but it's also lazy a lot of the times. Because if I was to bid, 65% of what somebody's asking, or 65% of the resale value minus construction costs or whatever, I wouldn't be profitable going against someone like me who's still going to be making good money on these deals. So it doesn't take much more effort to look at the deal individually and understand, first off, what's going on the resale stuff, and it allows me to understand what I need to put into the deal in order to get there, right? It doesn't take that long, and you can move quickly as long as you know how. Well, first, if you have good real estate agents and good wholesalers that you've networked with using the correct scripts, right? Which I happen to have, my friends. But even if you're doing this on your own, if you have the right people on your power team and you have, the different technology, the apps, the Redfins, the Zillows of the world on auto searches in a way where you understand what the ARV of the neighborhood is, so you understand what you can start, where a motivated seller would be. Let's say anything that comes up in this neighborhood and they're asking less than $275. Okay, that's a motivated enough seller. When I know they can resell for $355, I'm gonna do auto search on that, auto search on this, auto search on this, and now my phone starts buzzing a different way when I know that there's a lead because I've programmed everything, right? There's real interesting ways where you can get in before anyone else does, and be able to strike first, right? Cash is king because speed is king, right? Time is the most valuable thing, and if you know how to use time correctly, it can work wonders for you, all right? So now let's get back into this, right? So as I told you earlier, I'm not a here, let me do this here. I'm gonna use this one. I'm not a real estate agent. I hire a real estate agent, okay? I am not a contractor. I hire a contractor, okay? I do not bring my own money to the deal. I usually bring lenders in. Sometimes a lender will bring the entire thing in exchange for a profit share, okay? Let's say a lender brought 263 and they're like, I want a 50-50 split. That means they bring 273, they get about 33 or 30 grand back, and you get 30 grand back, and they get their entire, their loan back as well, right? So you get everything that's left over. They put the money in, they get their money paid back, they get half the profit, you get the other half that's still left. Some of them will put in the 273, but instead of winning a profit share, instead they'll say something like, I want 1% of the loan that I gave you per month. I want $2,700 a month. $2,700 a month times 6 months is $16,000 or something like that, right? So maybe they want 16 over the course of 6 months, right? You pay them $2,700 per month. If that's what they want, yeah, it might be hard to figure out how you're going to pay them if you don't have that money, but you're left with much more money at the end of the day. You're left with 47 grand rather than 30 grand. And so there's all sorts of ways that lenders structure their loans. And like I said, some of them will bring everything to the table. Some of them will bring 270 or 260 to the table, and you have to bring the rest plus pay them a monthly payment. But a lot of people don't understand there's a thing called gap funders out there, and that's people that'll partner with you for the down payment, right? Let's say it's 30 grand or 35 grand that you still need to cover the difference between the loan and the rest of the project costs, and then you also need to help covering the big lender's monthly interest payment for 6 months, right? You bring a second lender in to cover that, you can give them a huge payback, right? Like let's say they bring 35 grand in and you give them 20% straight up, a $7,000 return on their 30 grand, right? 20% on their money in 6 months. So let's say this one you paid 16 grand and the other one you pay 7, that's a total of 23, right? You still have 37 grand left at the end of the day and you put $0 into your own pocket, right? Now that I may have been going kind of fast. Some of you may be driving or just listening kind of in the background or whatever. But there's ways where you can put this together and just based on the numbers, the rate of return that they want. Do they want a fee up front? What is a monthly payment? How long are you expecting? 6 months? Okay, well, whatever we need to pay them, if I don't have that money, then I bring a second position person to partner with them so that that's covered on my behalf. I pay them interest on their money, right? The little lender interest on their money, pay the big interest on their money. And then everything that's left over goes to your boy Jake, okay? Now, does that make sense? Now, I know you guys could ask questions all day. We have like our first 10 days of the mentorship program, good 33% of the content in the group is about this stuff. And then there's a calculator, there's templates, there's scripts, there's everything, right? Like we go in depth on this stuff. But for the most part, now that we're scratching the surface here, does that make sense here today? What's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, it's backwards. Sorry. All right, cool. Blocks World. Can you lose your money in flipping houses even when using OPM? You can. Now, it depends on what type of person you are, okay? Like, let's say I did something crazy and I went 50 grand over budget, right? Which I've done it before. I made the mistake of advancing someone money and then he literally fled the country with it. And so then I'm stuck. So the lender could foreclose on the property. Or what I did was I said, listen, let me give you let me pay you off. And then what the additional amount that I owe you, let me give you a short payoff. I'll pay over the course of 6 months, right? So that's what I did. And it was a good thing. I mean, you don't have to do that because they could just foreclose on the property and you're like, you're shit out of luck. You made the risk of investing in real estate. But that's not going to be good for your reputation. So me doing that, and there was, early on, there was 2 losses I remember. One dude, he just let me pay him for 6 months, and the lady, she let me pay over 12 months, and it wasn't that much. It was like $500 a month or something like that. But by me doing that and being straight up, like, hey, listen, I want to make this right. Those people invested in my deals to this day, right? They trust me. They know that I'm going to make things right. They know I do things fair, and they feel like they're in good hands. I never tell somebody it's going to work out perfectly. There's always shit that comes up in real estate, right? We're buying old houses that are beat up. Sometimes we miss some things, okay? But if you do it the right way and you carry yourself as a brand and you're not looking for just overnight money and then you're going to ghost somebody, you're looking to do this for the long term. You treat people right, they'll treat you right, okay? It's a win-win relationship. Everybody's got to win in this type of business, all right? Yeah, I like the shirt too. This isn't my shirt, but it's a great shirt. What would you do if you had $100K to invest? Depends on what you want to do. Are you trying to make the most amount of money? Are you trying to learn skills that are going to make you money? Right? I think you should have some type of mentor or have some type of program. It doesn't mean that's real estate investing. I mean, you do stock trading. You can learn how to open an online marketing business or something like that. I always recommend buying your way to the table rather than working your way to the table. I know that sounds weird, but if you have the ability to not maybe use your money, maybe invest someone else's money and partner with them, you could go from taking a year to learn something to taking 3 months. And if you learn something in 3 months, you can make a lot of money in that year that you'd be doing it if you're doing it for free without investing, but giving all your time to it. So I'd recommend investing in yourself for something, whatever it is you're trying to do. And just understand that whatever you put in, just make sure you're learning skills that's going to give you a return on that investment of your time as well. It is all about the relationships. What can you do with 20K? You can buy my program and still have quite a bit left over. It depends, right? Like, there's another thing. We have people in our group that they get in the group. Everybody looks at properties the same, but some of them have 30, 40, 50 grand, and they become the down payment lenders for someone else in the group that doesn't maybe have the money, but they have time and they're out there hustling. And some folks that have the money, they don't necessarily have the time for the hustle, but they know how to look at a deal now, and they start, making relationships, and everybody's winning and everybody's making money. We have people in our group, they're making really good money funding other students, and those students, by borrowing from them, they're able to make good money. And it's on deals like this. So let me do this real quick because it's 5:08. I got to get out of here in about 10 minutes. So this is what we put into the property, right? There's a little change order that I haven't even paid yet. The contractor agent hasn't given me a bill. So it might be like $1,000 more, but these numbers are on point. Actually, our closing costs on the purchase was $2,500, and there's probably, I think, $1,500 right here. So these numbers are right about perfect, okay? When we're 2 weeks from having this property done, let me do this. Let me come back down. When we're 2 weeks from having this property done, there we go. We had a buyer that was interested in one of my other properties, and they didn't win it, right? It went higher, and they had a cap of $385. That was like, I love, they were looking in the same neighborhood too. And they're like, I love these grays, I love these whites. Do you have anything else out here that might be down at, in this range? And I knew that I was probably going to ask 360, 365. We're like, hey, the one on Barcelona, 385, we'll take that. And they went to it, and it was like 3/4 of the way done. They were like, dude, we want this house. We're going to write the offer right now. So they wrote an offer for $385, okay? 30 grand higher, all right? So $385, so about 30 grand higher. Obviously, these numbers went up a little bit, not much. So we're going to say 30 grand higher at $385. But then I gave them a credit back. So they buy the house, and then 5 grand comes back in cash at the end of the day, right? So I give them a credit back to the buyer of 5 grand. So 25 grand higher than where this is at. So instead of being 60 grand, it's an $85,000 deal, right? Because I came in at 385 and with $5,000 back, okay? So I don't even know what that number is, but we're at 85. Now, I had 2 lenders. One of them brought a bunch of cash in, and the other one brought down payment cash in, okay? The one that brought a bunch of cash, it took like 6 months to the dot. We paid 11 grand. Yeah, 11 grand to the first position lender, and then the second position lender I paid 4 grand, right? So I paid a total of about 50. It's like 14,900, right? Take about 15 grand out of this, and then we are at, my friends, 70 G's on this one flip that I bought during quarantine, right? Because I was willing to lowball the offer and negotiate with the seller, solve a problem for them because they wanted to get out of that house. They wanted to sell it quick. They thought that the sky was falling because, what they were seeing on the news, right when all this stuff was hitting, right, the virus. I was able to make the move, and I was able to get a fat paycheck earlier this week. Or it was late last week. I think we closed on Friday or whatever. But, yeah, this ain't bad, especially when you're putting $0 out of your own pocket, okay? And that's how the game is played. That's how... I've sold four properties over the last 10 days. I still have 11 flips that are going on. I just bought another one on Thursday of last week, so 12 flips going on. I do it very, very part-time, right? It's all numbers. It's all trends. I share everything that the contractors send me via text. I share them with you guys on Instagram. That's where I do the screenshots. You get a driver's eye view. I don't know what it is, but you see exactly what I'm seeing from my phone, right? We get professional, my contractors take pictures of the house on the walkthrough. I get professional photos done when we resell, okay? So you see drastic differences on the before and after. People are always bitching at me like, take them from the same angle. I'm like, dude, I ain't going to the house. And I'm not going to tell the contractor, hey, can you go back to the house tomorrow? And instead of being right here, can you take it from a couple to the side? Because I know that the professional photographer might do that in 6 months when we sell it. You know, it's like, yeah, you're just going to have to kind of just deal with the angles being a little bit off. You can tell it's the same property, and I'll show you exactly what we did. But that's how the game is played. That's how I'm able to beat a lot of the big billionaire tech hedge funds and all those guys. I'm able to compete with the local millionaires that have their own crews. They're contractors, they're real estate agents. They're never sleeping. They're drinking coffee 24/7. And I'm able to do this while doing Instagram lives, barefoot in my office, not wearing any pants. And we do it over and over and over again. I consistently do the boring work, and I consistently get results. And that's what I teach other people to do. If you are interested in having these types of results and being able to buy your time back, hit the link in my bio, you guys. This is a lot more simplified than most people think, and there's a lot of resources out there, including lenders in our group, right? Like the game is a lot different than most people think. It's just most people are so scared and intimidated to step foot on the field because they've been told their whole life that a 9 to 5 is the dream, right? To go work for someone else's goals, right? Life is a battle for territory. And if you don't go after what you want and try to gain territory in your life, the things that you don't want are going to come back and win and fight back. It's a fight every day, or it's a dance battle every day. It's something I like to say in the group. But this is the game, right? You put work in, you get work out. But it doesn't have to be super hard work. This is smart work, not hard work. You got technology and calculators and everything in between that helps you bridge those gaps and do it really, really quickly. All right? All right, y'all. I got to go. I would sit and answer more questions, but there's a Q&A on my stories right now. If there's a question that you didn't have answered that you want me to go back and hopefully take care of, send me a DM. A lot of times the DMs don't go through. I get a lot of hate mail. A lot of people don't like capitalism. They think that for whatever reason, people get real bold and telling me stuff they'd never tell me in real life. But I get people from all over the country telling me that I'm what's wrong with the world and I do stuff that's terrible or I'm a scammer or whatever it is. So a lot of times I got to protect my energy and fight for my territory by not getting pissed off all the time. So I don't check the DMs a lot, but hit me on the Q&A, right? I do Q&As probably every week. I do lives on a regular basis. And right now, the mentorship group is open for applications. It'll probably be open till the end of the week, maybe early next week. When that's open, I do lives a little bit more often to answer questions. That's typically when people are coming in, they need more clarity or more questions answered. So I'll probably be on here tomorrow as well, right around the same time. So you guys, it's been fun. I don't think I said anything embarrassing today. So this is going to be content in the future. For those of you in the future watching this, I know you can't see all the comments that are down here, but if you're interested in this game, whether it's way in the future or right now, hit the link in my bio or theflipsecrets.com/mentor. We may be on open applications. We may be on waitlist, whatever it is, put your info in. Someone from my team will get back with you and at least have a conversation about what this game is really all about. Hint, hint, it's not what you see on TV. It's dollars and cents. It's numbers and trends, my friend. It is a science and not an art. So with that, y'all be good. God bless you. I love you all. This is fun for me. I get in my element, and we'll talk to you the next time. We'll see all of y'all on the flip side. Take care.